Good morning, kiddos, and thank you for joining us again today for At Home at APS. And happy Monday to you today. Let's go ahead and start with our calendar. And just a reminder, when we get to our number of the day, if you want to get a paper and fold it into fourths, so you can record number of the day when we get to it, you could take a minute and go grab a piece of paper so you can do that with me. Okay, so today is Monday. Do you remember what month it is? It's the month of July, and it's been a few days since we've been together, right? So the last day we were together was on Thursday, July 2nd, okay? So here's Thursday. We have to go all the way Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So let's go ahead and fill in those numbers by counting. So we had Wednesday was July 1st, Thursday was July 2nd, so Friday was July 3rd, Saturday was a special day, it was July 4th. I wonder if you got to do anything special on July 4th this year. And Sunday then was July 5th. So then what is today, Monday? That's right. It's July 6th. Very good. All right. So we're going to go ahead. Today's the day we'll discover what our pattern is. We had a new pattern, and we are going to see what that is today. So we had so far a red circle, a green triangle, and guess what we're going to get next? Another red circle. What might be next? It could be a green triangle. But guess what? This is going to be a different kind of pattern. So we're going to get a green quadrilateral. What kind of quadrilateral? A square. So we have red circle, green triangle, red circle, green square. What do you think might go on Sunday, July 5th? That's right. We're going to go back to a red circle. So our pattern is starting over. So here's what our pattern is. Red circle, green triangle, red circle, green square. So we're starting over. Red circle. What comes after our first red circle? That's right. It's a green triangle is what we have next. Very good. So we are on July 6th. Let's fill in our frame to show how many days we've covered. So far, we only have 2. Do you know how many more we'll need to add to get to 6? Look at our frame and think about it. We'll have to fill this whole top row, won't we? What will that give us? That's right, it'll give us 5. And to get to 6, we'll need 1 more. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to fill in our 5. 3 more to fill our 5. Plus 1 more than that to make 6. So we added 1, 2, 3, 4 days since the last time we met, right? On the 2nd to bring us up to the 6th. So if today then is Monday, what was yesterday, the day before today? That's right, it was Sunday. And Sunday has a special red asterisk to remind us that it's a weekend day. Those are special kind of days. So yesterday was Sunday, today is Monday. What will tomorrow be? What day of the week? That's right, it will be Tuesday. Excellent job. Okay, so now It is time for our number of the day. So if you want to grab your paper, you can go ahead and do that. And I think I need to get my pen ready so that I can record the number of the day. Okay, so what's our number of the day? It's 6, right? 6 is a one-digit number because we haven't made it to a full 10 yet, have we? Our 10 frame shows us that pretty well. How do we write the word 6? Six. What letters make that sound? I hear an S sound to start. Uh-oh. S. I. X. I love making that sound. It's an X. S-I-X makes 6 for us. What are some other ways we could show 6 on our today's number chart? Well, I'm thinking about, we've done a lot with patterns and combinations, and 6 is a number that you can break down into doubles, can't you? So one way I'm thinking about it is with our dice pattern for 6. 3 and 3, right? 3 and 3 make 6. We can use a double to make it. What else? We haven't used tallies for a while. What do we know about tallies? We know each tally represents 1, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. What special thing happens when we get to 5? Oh yeah, we go like this. That means we have a full 5. So for 6, we need 5, and how many more? 1 more. That's another way to show 6. Let's think about our 10 frames now, and the number 6, and how many that is. So what if we wanted to show 6 with an addition sentence? Can this frame help you think of one? Top row's full, and then we have 1 more. How would we show that with addition? Top row is how many? 5 plus. Oh. I think we may have to reset our pen. Well, shucks. We'll have to reset everything. We'll write really quickly. Let's see. Okay, so ready? Speedy review. 6 as a numeral. 6 as a word. 6 as a dot pattern. 6 as tallies. Right where we left off. 6 as a number sentence. How many on the top row? Doesn't like that spot. 5 on the top row plus how many on the bottom row? 1. That gives us 6. What if we wanted to use our frame to think about 6 in terms of subtraction? If the frame was full, how many would we have? We'd have 10. And how many are missing from that frame? 4, right? So 10 take away 4 gives us 6, doesn't it? Okay, now let's think about 6 on our hundreds chart. So we're gonna put it in our middle square, right? So when we think about 6 on the hundreds chart, what's coming right after 6? 6, 7, you've got it. Okay, and what number came right before 6? Do you know? Even our frame could help. That's right, 5. Okay, so working on the hundreds chart, can we make a big jump back from 6? 10 jumps back? No, we can't with 6. But can we make a jump of 10 going forward? Yes, we can. What number is 10 more than 6? Can you see it on our hundreds chart? That's right, it's 16. 16 is 10 plus 6 more. Thank you for working along with me with our number of the day. Now it's time for our counting jar. Today we're counting pom-poms. Are you ready? Oh, that was 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, we have a lot today, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, plus 1 more on the floor makes how many? 22. Very good. So we had 22 pom-poms in all, counting the one on the floor. So at home today, if you are a kindergartner, see if you can find 22 things to count. If you're a first grader, we're going to double that. How many would that be? We can think about doubling our 2s, right? 20 plus 20 gives us our 4 10s in 40, and 2 plus 2 gives us 4. 44 if you're in first grade, and if you're in second grade, you might try to double that 44. Same idea. So 40 plus 40 gives us our 8 10s. That represents 80, right? And then adding our 4 1s, 4 plus 4, gives us another 8 1s. Do you notice a pattern in the numbers for our collections? Everything's a double, right? 22, 2 plus 2 is 4, 44, 4 plus 4 is 8, 88. Kind of neat to watch for patterns as we think about numbers all the time. So if we have 22 pom-poms, that's more than we've counted so far. And it's actually 7 more than we counted last Thursday. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of counting from 6. We've done a lot of counting by 10s. What if we made jumps of 20? Could you do it with me? Let's try. 6, 26, 46, 66, 86, 106. What would be next? We're making jumps of 20. 106. That's right. 126. 146. Our pattern's repeating, isn't it? 166. 186. So we can count using any kind of jumps we want to. We can use jumps of 10, jumps of 2, jumps of 5, jumps of 20. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next riddle. This is a good summer one. Not so dandy lions. These lions are a stubborn breed. There's never just a single weed. The trouble starts when they get loose. They catch a breeze and reproduce. Those dandelion seeds make more, don't they? How many plants are still in bloom? A perfect lawn, they're sure to doom. Count by 5s the plants you see, then subtract the seedy 3. So we're looking for plants that still have flowers on them and they haven't turned into puffy seed balls. So let's go ahead and see if we can see 5s. Count by 5s the plants we see. Each row has 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I can see the matching column next to it. So 5 and 5, the double, that gives us 10. And what if we took away 3? How many would there be left? So we're taking away our 3 dandelions that are seeds now. We're not counting those. We could think about a frame and what that might look like. We could also count back, right? 10, 9, 8, 7. 7 of our dandelions still are in bloom. Let's check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exactly right. Okay, that is terrific. We are going to have some vocabulary today. We're going to be talking about the word count. Ooh, our vocabulary is getting way down there, isn't it? Okay, for today I might just put it at the top so we can see it. We'll reorganize tomorrow. Count is one of the words we'll think about today. We've been doing a lot of that, right? 1, 2, 3. We're going to be making something called a T-chart. That's a way to organize 2 things on a chart that looks just like a T, you will see. And we're also going to think about making number stories. So those are math problems that we tell with words, and then we figure them out. All right, that's it for today for calendar, and we're going to turn it over to Mrs. Obenshane.
All right. Clear this off. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. We're going to use the document camera here in just a minute. All right. What we're going to do is a little bit of counting by tens and thinking about tens and ones again today. We haven't done that for a little bit. And so the first thing we're going to do is use our 200 chart to count by tens. We'll do it by tens, and then we'll start at different numbers counting by tens. And going forward and backward. All right, so this one is pretty familiar, right? Let's count together. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. I'm going to stop here for just a second. You're going to notice that the pattern repeats again in the tens place. But now we just have 100 also. So we have 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180, 190, 200. Once we get to 90 again, we get another 100. Let's try going backwards. 200, 190, 180, 170, 160, 150, 140, 130, 120, 110, 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. And then we can talk about counting by tens from different numbers. You already talked about that a little bit on today's number. We went from 6 to 16, and we've done that quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. So let's pick a number. Let's say, how about 3? Let's start with 3 and count by tens. Count with me. 3, 13, 23, 33, 43, 53, 63, 73, 83, 93. Let's go backwards. 93, 83, 73, 63, 53, 43, 33, 23, 13, 3. We can start counting from other numbers than just the single digits also, right? And maybe go over 100. And if you really want to challenge yourself, close your eyes and see if you can just say the numbers and think about what they would be thinking about the pattern. So since today's number was 6, why don't we start with, how about 16, since that was the highest we went on your today's number chart. So 16, 26, 36, 46, 56, 66, 76, 86, 96, 106, 116, 126, 136, 146. Let's stop there and go backwards. 146, 136, 126, 116, 106, 96, 86, 76, 66, 56, 46, 36, 26, 16. So I would encourage you to keep practice counting like this. You can print out one of the 100 or 200 charts that we have on our website, and you want to keep that practice going of counting like that because it will help you with adding and subtracting bigger numbers. All right, so now we're going to do some practice with materials doing that same thing. And we've talked about these before, right? What are these called? A bundle. How many are in these? 10, right? So if we took off the rubber band, we can really see all of the number of sticks it takes us to make a group of 10. Just like our hundreds chart shows us, these numbers are all included in a 10 if we're counting by tens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oops, that looked like we had more than that, didn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's get rid of this guy. Maybe I had an extra one in my hand. All right, so groups of 10. All right, so let's just count by tens to start. So what do we have there? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. See if I can get one more on here. 100, right? I've got a row of 100. 110, 120, 130, 140, 150, 160, 170, 180. With 180 sticks, that's a lot, isn't it? All right, let's count backwards. 170, 160, 150, 140, 130, 120, 110, 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, and then 0. We can do the same kind of counting starting at different numbers that we did on our hundreds chart, right? This time I'm going to try to start with 2, and it'd be just like going down our 2 column of our hundreds chart. So how many do I have there? Can you see my 2 separate sticks? So I have 10, 11, 12, right? All right, we're going to count by 10 starting there. So 12. How many now? 22, right. 32. 42. 52. 62. So I have 62, right? What if I put 2 bundles? Miss Carnes had you guys practice counting by 20s on the hundreds chart earlier, right? So I have 62. How many will I have if I add 2 bundles? 82, right? 60 and 20 is 80, so it'll be 82, or we could go 62, 72, 82, 92, 102. This is sometimes a little tricky. So I have 102. Now I have 112, 122, 132. You can see my 3 bundles for 30. All right, let's take some away. 122, 112, 102, 92, 82, 72, 62. That was right to the place where we added 2 bundles, right? All right, I'm going to show you a game now that you could download from our website and play to practice. And if you want to play, if you have popsicle sticks that you can use to make bundles of 10, great. Or if you have something else you can count and put in groups of 10, or you can just practice with the numbers if that works for you. So we're going to go back over here, and then Miss Carnes is going to come out and help us play. I'm going to go here, and then we're going to go to this. So we just need to make this a little smaller so we can see the game board. All right, and then we're going to use the spinner over here also. Excuse me, Miss Carnes. So we're going to come over here. We're both going to need a few piles. I'm going to take these balls from our counting jar and move them out of our way. So we're starting with 80. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. So I'm going to have 80, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. Oh, we might need a few more bundles.
Okay.
And then we need these dice. You can use those. All right. So how this game goes is that we're either going to roll dice to add or subtract 10, 20, or 30, or and then we're going to mark it on this bingo board. So if I'm always starting with 80, because the game is called Add, Subtract 80, then I'm going to start with 80, and if I roll minus 10, I'm going to go backwards 10. I'm going to take 10 away. If I roll a plus, I'm going to add 10 to it. So I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and spin over here. So I got a plus 30. So I had 80, and I'm going to need to add 3 bundles. So 80, 90, 100, 110, right? And so I'm going to use maybe an X, and Miss Carnes can be O's.
Okay. All right. And I have a die that I can roll. My die has, I have 2 of them. One has plus and minus, and one has the same numbers as Mrs. Openshane's spinner. So I get plus 30. So how many do we have here again? 80. So let's go ahead. 80, 90, 100, 110.
That was the same thing I got. Huh? I'm going to take those 30 that I added away because we're always starting this game with 80. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. I'm going to roll or spin. Always say that. Ooh, minus 40. So count backwards with me. 70, 60, 50, 40. So if I had 80 and I took away 40, then I have 40. And that's a pretty good one for me. I could try and block Miss Carnes from getting 3 in a row, but I think I'll just go ahead and go right next to mine.
All right. So I rolled while Mrs. Obenshane was marking, and I got minus 10. So we're going to have to count back 2. How many bundles will I take away? Just 1. So 80, now 70. Okay. Oh, I think I'm going to put a block on that row.
Mm-hmm. So I think we'll take one more roll each, and then we'll have to wrap it up. I want to show you there's another game board that you can do with 10s and 1s. But let's take one more roll, and then we'll move on to the book that Miss Carnes has for us today. Oh, minus 40 again, right? So if I had 80, 70, 60, 50, 40. I'm back at 40. I can go right here.
All right, and I've rolled, and this time I got minus 20. So we have 80, and let's count backward. Taking one bundle out, 70, two bundles out, 60. 80 minus 20 is 60. And even though I'm gonna go ahead and use that one since it's next to my other mark.
So if we kept playing, we would just keep playing until we could get 3 in a row or 4 in a row. You can decide ahead of time if you want to play 3 or 4. And then if we scroll up a little bit, oops, and we'll get rid of our marks that we did. You can see there's another board that's add or subtract from 82. And that would just be like starting with 82 sticks and adding or subtracting, just like we were counting off decade a few minutes ago with the bundles and sticks. So we hope that you enjoy playing those games. And now let's see what kind of a book Miss Carnes has to read us.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna grab my chair.
First one over here.
Oh yeah, just on the other side of the table. Okay, brought my book back up. Maybe using the document camera, I'm gonna pull this over to a little more close. Just gonna take this right down for now. Okay. Oh, I think we might have to take it off to make it stick. Here we go. Okay. This way we can think about this while we're reading. Oh, first though, I need you to see the screen, so we'll wait just a moment on that. Oops. So lucky that I have some help to help me remember.
You want?
No, I actually want the document camera. Okay. Oh, goodness me. This board's being a little tricky today. Okay, so we do have it. Very good. All right, so today's story, thank you for being patient with me while I get things set up here. Today's story is called Mouse Count. This story is told by Ellen Stoll Walsh, wrote this book, and it is a trumpet book. Okay, boy, these mice sure are cute. So, and maybe we just want to show this also with the document camera. Keep working together. I think it all fits. It does. Excellent. Okay. One fine day, some mice played in the meadow. They were careful to watch for snakes. Snakes eat mice. Did you know that? But when the mice got sleepy, they forgot about snakes and they all took naps. Let's see how many mice there are. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh, tricky, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 mice, and soon they'll all be taking a nap. While they slept, a hungry snake went looking for dinner. On his way, he found a nice big jar. I will fill this jar with dinner, he said. It wasn't long before he had found 3 mice, little, warm, tasty, and fast asleep. First, I will count them, and then I will eat them, said the snake. Let's go ahead and show our sleeping mice in the grass. We're going to use pom-poms as our mice, and we're going to talk about what the snake is doing. Look, when we have our jar, just like the snake. So he said first he'll count them, then he'll eat them up. Mouse count. We had 10 here, and then he puts 1, 2, 3 mice into the jar. So we had 10 mice on the grass, but now we've put 3 mice in the jar. So we have how many left outside the jar on the grass? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus our 3, right, gives us 10 in all. We could count. We could also think about our combinations or use our frames to help us with that. All right. So there is our snake dropping his 3 mice into the jar. But he was very hungry. 3 mice were not enough. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we had how many mice left on the grass? Can you tell? Let's set them up like a frame to help us. Can you tell how many? 5 and 2, 7 left. So soon he found 4 more mice, little, warm, tasty, and fast asleep, and he counted them. So 3 in the jar, and then he says 4, 5, 6, 7. So how many mice in the jar now? We just counted them. 7. And how many mice left on the grass? 3, right? Because 7 and 3 more gives us our 10. Let's take a look at our book again. But the snake was very, very hungry, and 7 mice were not enough. Oh my goodness. At last he found, how many more will he find in the grass? That's right. 3 more mice, little, warm, and tasty. Ooh. And fast asleep. And he counted them. Let's go ahead and count into our jar. So 7 in the jar, 8, 9, 10. The jar is full. How many mice are left in the grass? None. All 10 are in the jar. Okay, let's bring our book back. 10 mice are enough. Now I'm going to eat you up, little, warm, and tasty, said the snake. Wait, said one of the mice. The jar isn't full yet. And look at that big mouse over there. Did you see a big mouse? Let's see where that is. The snake was very greedy. He hurried off to get the big mouse. And while he was gone, the mice rocked the jar one way and rocked the jar another way until over it went. They tipped the jar. Let's see what's happening. They're running out of the jar. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The little mice uncounted themselves and ran home. Let's see what that looks like with our jar, right? They tipped it and tipped it and tipped it until it tipped over and they uncounted themselves. So 10 in the jar, right? Now, 9 in the jar, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and our last 1. How many mice left in the jar? None. How many mice out of the jar and probably running home to their mommies? 10, right? All right, let's see what that snake's up to now. The snake reached the big mouse, but it was only a cold, hard rock. Wow, those tricky mice, they tricked him. And when he got back, the jar was empty. And the mice have gone off to play. Hopefully they'll be a little more careful about where they nap. So now let's think about some of the combinations in the book. This is where I'm gonna move this over now, closer. Okay, so remember we talked about a T-chart earlier? So this is a T-chart. See how it's shaped just like a T? And so it has space for me to write some things on this column and some space for me to write some things in this column. So we have 2 columns here. One is called mice in the grass, and the other is called mice in the jar. So how did we start the book? When we started the book, there were 10 mice, right, on the grass. Were there any mice in the jar? There were no mice in the jar. If we put that on a frame, right, it might look like this. 10 all together on the grass, no mice here in the jar. Then what happened next, right? The mice fell asleep and the snake came and he grabbed up how many mice? 3. 3 mice. And he put them in the jar, didn't he? So, let's change our colors so we can see. So now, how many, Miss Carnes wrote that in the wrong column. Oh my goodness. Because he grabbed 3. My 3 belongs here in the jar, doesn't it? So, help me to fix that. 3 mice in the jar. How many left on the grass? 7. Very good. 7 in the grass. Just change that. Okay. But then, do you remember? The snake said he was still hungry. 3 mice in the jar was not enough for him. So he went back for some more. Do you remember how many more he got? He got 4 more. So let's move some more mice from the grass to the jar. Now, how many mice do we have left in the grass? Just 3. There's where that 3 belongs. How many mice now in the jar? 5 and 2 more. How many is that? 7. So you might have noticed that here we just kind of turned it around. First 7 mice on the grass and 3 in the jar, right? And now 3 mice on the grass and 7 in the jar. What happened next? What happened next? He was still hungry, wasn't he? He said 7 mice aren't enough, and he went back to the grass and he found some more sleeping mice. How many? 3. And he moved those 3 to the jar. So now, how many mice left on the grass? 0. No more mice left in the grass. How many mice in the jar? All of them, right? And how many was that? It was 10. Okay, then the mice got tricky. and sent the snake off to look for some more, remember? And they went tip, 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 tip. And what did they do? They all tipped the jar over and escaped. So all the mice got out of the jar. How many mice left in the jar? None. They all got away. And how many mice maybe on the grass or maybe running home? 10. So we're kind of back to the beginning. We've spent a lot of time thinking about ways, different combinations that will make 10. Let's see if we can think of a few more. Here we've been working a lot with 7 and 3, 3 and 7, 0 and 10. What's another way? What if the snake first only grabbed, let's say 2 mice, and put 2 mice in the jar? How many mice would be left in the grass? 8. 8 mice in the grass. How many mice then in the snake's jar? 2, right? We know when we have 8 and 2 more, that gives us 10. What if now the snake grabbed 2 more mice? That means how many left on the grass? That's right, 6. And how many mice now in the snake's jar? 4. Now, we've got some combinations listed here. Could we turn these into equations? Do you remember what an equation is? An equation is the way to write a combination into a number sentence. So, we could use addition. Let's start with addition. 10 mice on the grass plus none in the jar. How could we write that? Let's write our word equation. We could write that as 10 plus 0, and it would equal 10, right? What about this one? 7 mice on the grass and 3 in the jar. We could write that as an addition sentence, right? We're always going to have 10 mice because none were eaten. So we could write this as 7 plus 3 to give us 10, right? Here we've flipped it around. Now only 3 mice on the grass and 7 mice in the jar. So that just gives us one of our turnaround facts we talked about. We can change the order of the add-ins and still come up with the same total, can't we? And here was one we did before, again turned around. 0 mice on the grass and 10 in the jar. 0 plus 10 equals 10. 8 on the grass, 2 in the jar. 8 plus 2, what will it equal? Oh yes, 10. And 6 and 4. What's that combination equal? All 10. What if we wanted to think about any of these as subtraction? Like, there were some on the grass, and we've taken some out. So let's go ahead and take a look. So if there were 10 on the grass, and we took out 7, how many left? We could write it this way. 10, take 7 off the grass, leaves us with 3. Right? Let's try this one. We had 10 on the grass. We took out 2. That would be 10. Take away 2 equals 8. And we could turn any of these into a number story, right? Which is kind of what we've been doing all along. There were 8 mice on the grass, and we take out 2. How many are left? I mean, if there were 10 mice on the grass and we took out 2, how many would be left? It would be 8. That's a number story that goes with our equation. So thank you for thinking with me about mice in the grass. We've got Mrs. Obenshane coming up with a new task for us.
And I'm going to use some of these combinations. There's a few that aren't there that we're going to talk about. Miss Carnes did all 10. And we need a few of these just before we can see. But we can change 1 and do 9 and 1 to make 10. We have 8 and 2. We have 7 and 3. We have 6 and 4. And the other number combination that makes 10 is 5 and 5. So I'm going to add that one right here because we're going to need those to play this game. So I really like playing games with cards because that's probably something that you have at home. And when you play this game, what you need to do is take the jacks, the queens, and the kings out of your deck. But you're going to leave your aces in there because they're going to be like your 1. And then you're going to just shuffle up your cards. And we're going to be making 10s. So that's why it's lucky that we have all these equations, right? So what you do then is you take your cards and you're going to put them in a 3 by 3 grid. Sometimes this is called an array. And I'm just putting them face down. And I'm going to keep sharing my cards. Whoop. Maybe I could have set this up ahead of time. That might have been smart of me, huh? You wouldn't have to watch me do this. But it's good to know how to set the game up, too. So you're just going to, as evenly as you can, spread your cards out face down in a 3 by 3 array. And then you're going to turn the top card over on each of your piles. And hopefully you can see what I've got here. If you get an ace, that's going to be like a 1. And you can play this by yourself and play it like solitaire, or you can play it with a partner, and whoever has the fewest amount of cards at the end of the game is the winner. So then you're just going to pick up combinations that make 10. So I see 8 and 2 right here. So I could pick that up. And then I'd flip over the top card again. And if I'm just playing by myself, that's what we're going to do today just to make it go kind of quick. I'll keep pulling up combinations. 5 and 5 makes 10, right? And I flip these over again. I could do 7 and 3. That came up in the mouse count story quite a bit. I love that story. Do you see any more combinations? I might be, here's a 6 and a 4. That was another combination. We'll flip those around. 9, and this ace is going to be like my 1, right? So 9 and 1. I could also pick up just a 10, right? And if you're playing with a partner, when you pick up the 10s, that means you end up with less cards because you're only picking up 1 card. Do you see any more? 5 and 5. I want to show you what happens when you kind of want to keep this grid format. So when you run out of cards, you just kind of can move some cards around. 9 and 1 again. And look, I have got a 10, so I'm going to pick that up again. Now I've got an empty spot. So I'm just going to slide 1 over so that I can get lots of choices to keep making 10. Right? And then you just keep playing. And if you're with a partner, you just check at the end to see who has the fewest amount of cards. If you're playing by yourself, you keep going until you get all of the cards picked up and you've made all of the combinations of 10 that you can make. So you want to remember, again, you need to know your combinations to make 10, right? And this is the first time we've really kind of talked about that, all those parts that make 10, but 10 and 0, so just a plain 10. 9 and 1, 8 and 2, 7 and 3, 6 and 4, 5 and 5. And if you put those on paper, you'll see a pattern there too. All right, so we just went to review. Today was July the 6th, so your number of the day was 6. And if you didn't get a chance, you could fold up a paper and show different ways to make 6. You could make a collection of 22, 44, or 88 items, depending on how big of a collection you want to count. And if you have a deck of cards, you can play this game for making 10. And we also have those bundles and sticks games, or which you could just play with numbers. Add or subtract from 80 or add or subtract from 82 on our website for you to play. And we thank you for being with us today and joining us with At Home at APS.